Architecture school brings lots of ups, downs, and many things in between. And in the past 5 years, I've experienced both the highs and the lows. And I wanted to kind of make this video to show you guys kind of the things that I've gone through, the projects I've worked on from my first year to my final year, and kind of give you guys another like honest review of my experience as a whole. So let's get into it. Well, I think we should start with the first year of architecture school, and that was predominantly like making friends, making sure I kind of know what the course structure is about, get into a rhythm, get into a pattern of learning and working. And as time went on, I feel like the stress kind of did grow, but it was because the quality and the expectation of the work and the standard that was expected also rose. And rose? Yeah, you know. But I feel that first year was really like an integral part of the whole 3 years of undergrad that I had. The tutors that I had, I think, were fantastic throughout the whole undergrad. But in my first year, I remember being like, we were learning how to draw staircases correctly for the very, very first time. And everyone in my studio was doing kind of the regular staircases. But then for some stupid reason, I decided, I was like, no, I want to have a spiral staircase in my projects. And my tutor was like, okay, you want to do that? Fine. And I was like, can you just tell me how to do it? Or like teach me how to do it, the things or the resources? And he was like, no, figure it out yourself. And I remember going back home and talking to my mum, being like, what does he mean figure out yourself? Like, I'm there to learn, he's there to teach me. Why is he not teaching me? But then he's telling others how to draw their staircases. And I was going mad, and I was just like, I don't understand why I've been in this position that I have to figure it out on my own. And then my peers are being given all these resources for how to do like the staircases of their choice. But looking back now, which was, oh my God, that's nearly like maybe 4 or 5 years ago now, I think that was kind of one of the moments that kind of set me off, being like, you know what, if I want to do well in architecture school, if I want to be kind of doing well as a designer, then I have to make the initiative to go and research for myself, go and practice for myself, and not just rely on the tutors. And this kind of became something that I really kind of kept close to me, and being like, if I want to do it, I have to go and research and I have to bring it to studio. And that relationship between me, the studio, and my peers kind of grew as time went on. And actually, I think I've got some of my first year stuff upstairs. So let me go show you. I just wanted to quickly show this piece of paper because this is actually the first kind of submission sheet that I submitted at, when is it? The 9th of January 2020. And this was like the first architecture project we ever worked on. And it's quite nice just to see the copy that I have. I mean, these are the ones that we had to give to the school, like the pink sheets, but the white ones are like stuck around in my room. I know it's weird, but it's just quite a nice little thing to kind of remember this whole journey of going through architecture school, really. But it's quite nice to look back, like 2020, 9th of January. Architectural design investigation, and the project's here, so I'll just go through it now quickly too. So yeah, we can see the name, student number, BA1, first project, collaboration. Oh, my friend Asta, yeah. I didn't even know that we worked on this project together. That's like the section drawings and the plans for the first ever like first year project. It's crazy to look back on. There's like final post review, like that's this stupid spiral staircase that I was saying about earlier, having to learn to draw that. And then the section drawing as well for that. I know it looks, right now looking back, I was like, how stupid was I by when you're first introduced to architecture projects and all those conventions. It can be quite daunting, you know, it can be quite difficult, you know, been there, done that. But looking back now, obviously, it just shows kind of the journey and the transition gone through it. And that kind of leads into the work of second year, working much more on the computers, because first year is all about hand drawing, but second year learning kind of, I think it was CAD, maybe some Photoshop. I already knew some Photoshop stuff, but you can see how already like preliminary it is and how just basic these drawings are as like a second year student. But at the time you're thinking like you're doing pretty well. Let's have a look at some more drawings and what I got up to. So yeah, that's another section, I think. Yeah, another section drawing, cutting through. I was actually so pleased and so proud of these plans, you know. The ground floor, and I think like the first floor plan as well. And we've got the site plan here. But yeah, this was actually also around the same time that after this review, COVID happened. So everything got put into, you know, we were locked down, and then we had to continue working from home. And then the project that I kind of finished at home, I was like much better than the final review. So I was so proud of that. And I also just wanted to kind of go through the sketchbook that I did for my second year as well. All of these drawings, all of these details, looking through precedents, studying the work of other architects, studying the work of existing projects. It's so nice to just go through this now, like really pretty quickly, like studying plans, applying. Oh my God, the Guggenheim Museum. It's so funny just to see precedents I'm still kind of referring to in my master's project as well. Some of the detailed kind of calculations, research, analysis that I was doing for these projects. I mean, what is that? Some of these analysis is actually so interesting to look back on now. I was doing quite a bit as a second year student, you know. And this is just one book. All of these books here are still that part of that same second year work. Although every year is divided into two projects, one for the first teaching block and one for the second. You can already see like all of these kind of my responses. You're studying the work of precedents. Oh my God, that was such a weird thing to do. But what are these ones? Oh, these are just cutouts of the posters I did. Right, but yeah, I'll just do a quick time lapse of the other books as well. And then we have third year, final year of undergrad degree. Again, that was all pretty much nearly all online again because of the pandemic. But that project was the most challenging project that I think at the time I've ever kind of gone through, because it was split into two halves. The first teaching block was this urban design strategy project that we had to work in Peckham in London. And that was continued in the second teaching block when we all had to choose which area of Peckham we wanted to work in. And I chose the train station, and many students also chose that train station around Peckham, right? And that was such a challenging project because you have to think of all of the logistics, all of the problems that come with not only designing a building or buildings, but the kind of the challenges and the difficulties with working with transport infrastructure. And it just caused so many weeks of just analyzing and trying to create solutions to problems before I even got on to designing the building itself. But looking back now, that was an integral part. And again, I had fantastic tutors for my third and final year. But I'm not going to speak much about the work I did then, because you can check out the video that I'll link below in the description of me looking through my final undergrad project. And again, feeding into fourth year, which is the beginning of masters, that's something, again, a completely different level. And yeah, let's talk about that now. So there we are, fourth years, the first year of masters. And what a different kind of kettle of fish that was when I first got started. I went into the studio, well, we picked our own studios, and when we first entered, I was thinking, here we go. Here's the next challenging 2 years of my life, and how complicated it's going to be, and how I'm kind of underprepared, because some students go into masters having done 1 year of experience. But because it was COVID when I finished undergrad, there wasn't many like part one placements that I could go into. No one was kind of hiring, and job applications were just getting rejected. And I had this safety net of, I was like, let me apply for the masters at the same school that I did my undergrad at. And if I get accepted, then fantastic. I can use that as a safety net and keep applying for part one positions. So long story short, there were no jobs because of COVID. I was fortunate to go straight onto the part two, which is the Masters of Architecture course. And I was like, here we go, I'm gonna be surrounded by people who have years of experience in industry, and it's just gonna be so difficult. But you know, as time went on, as the first couple of weeks into all the projects, I was like, you don't really need to have a couple years of experience to do the course. Maybe in the professional practice or the practice management modules, you would need to a little bit, it would help you. But for everything else, when it comes to design, when it comes to technology and your dissertation, there's not much that experience can actually help you in that sense. So I was like, you know what, let me go all out this year regardless and kind of use it as to like my advantage, being like, if they've got years of experience, then I'll have to work double as hard. Let me try work double as hard and see what the outcome can be. And I've shown you guys through the YouTube channel and the YouTube videos that I've made, the project that I worked on last year, or the projects that I did last year. And you can also check them out, and I'll link them in the description if you haven't already. And that leads me on to the kind of now, into 5th year, being like my final year, and everyone's kind of putting that pressure, get a job after you graduate, what are you gonna do, where are you gonna go? And I'm like, first of all, let me work on the projects. So let's talk about final year, 5th year right now, and see kind of the things that you can expect when you enter your 5th and final year of architecture studies, and what you can go on to do afterwards as well. And here we are, the final year of architecture studies, the 5th year, the final year, final projects, thesis, dissertation, everything being chucked at you all at once. And you have to manage it. You have to be careful. You have to make sure everything is controlled. And does it ever go to plan? Does it ever go according to the schedule that you make? No, absolutely not. But you have to keep being persistent, keep working hard. There's gonna be so many times, I think, in final year that you just hit a wall, whether it's gonna be for your dissertation, whether it's gonna be for your design project, or anything else, because you know you have a life outside of architecture school too, and that can get in the way, and it will definitely get in the way, but you have to keep pushing. And I think now that I'm coming towards the end of architecture school and my final architecture projects, I'm finally beginning to see that the years that have shaped kind of my architectural career and my kind of time as a young designer or graduate to be, 4th year and 5th year really did, or really have been the years that have been pushing me creatively and critically. I'll show you some of the brief, well, a quick couple images of the project, because I do want to make a video on the final project too, so I don't want to give too much away. But some of the ways that I've been able to push architecturally the projects, the schemes, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And with that enjoyment comes a lot of kind of, I don't know, sacrifice, whatever. I don't want to get into all that stuff. But being able to put time aside to work on the project, pushing yourself, being like, this is what my employers are going to see. This is what every single job application that I make, this is what's going to stand out. Let me go all out. This is my final year. Right now, as we speak, I've got 2 weeks left, or 13 days until the submission. So it's time to really, really go hard and really, really go all out for it, because I've worked so hard to get the project up to the standard that it is now, and it would just be a shame, and my tutor says it would be a shame if you just leave it here as it is. So final 2 weeks, more technical stuff, much more kind of atmospheric drawings, the fun part in a way, and the diagrams to show all the systems, all the structures that I've built, where I've used Rhino and then rendered on V-Ray, taken to Photoshop, some post kind of render production. It's lots of fun, it is challenging, but now that the model's done on Rhino and kind of working to kind of finalize it now, it's the fun part in a way. But we'll see. And my experience, I'd say, in 5th year, it's been really, really challenging. It's been very, very hard, because for me personally, as I've said in the previous kind of couple minutes ago when it was about, there's people that are on the course that have years of experience, and then they come and do the course. I haven't got that. I didn't have that, and I'm still kind of finalizing the project without having that experience behind me. And it shows in some of the works of others that you can see that they've been used to kind of doing there's a system that they've got in their heads that's become second nature to them when they go to do a project, and when they come to do the drawings, you can just see that, yeah, they worked in practice. The amount of structural kind of detail, construction methods, things like that is just second nature to them. But when it comes to me, I'll have to do, or I've been doing all of my design work, and then having to do so much more research into construction methods, design techniques, technical details, and it has been overwhelming at times. But at the same time, this is the place, this is the area for me to kind of keep experimenting, keep investigating. And without that kind of push, I feel like I wouldn't be able to achieve or accomplish the projects that I have in the past and the project that I'm working on now. And to kind of back that up, and the final point that I'd like to say is, when COVID hit, I'd say, it was March 2020, and I just about started working on the final project of 2nd year. we were in the year meeting in the lecture theatre, and I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe it was the train up there, I was thinking about this, but in the lecture theatre, I kind of said to myself, use uni as the training field, as the practice ground, and then everything else is kind of an extra. Whereas everyone would think of university as being kind of this kind of box that is like stress, makes you upset, puts so much workload on you and all this stuff. But I thought of it in a way that I think it also helps some of you out there. Use it as a training field. Make as many mistakes, or don't set out to make mistakes, but keep experimenting, keep trying with all of your drawings, all of your work. No doubt, things will be wrong, things will be incorrect. But that's why tutors are there, to kind of correct you and say, no, this is the correct way of doing it. Kind of when it comes to things such as construction drawings and other kind of techniques, your tutors will kind of tell you the correct way and the right way to do it. There is no wrong answer, but there's a right way of doing things. So that's important. Use university as the practice ground. And then when you want to kind of work on projects outside of architecture school, if you have time, and that's a completely different discussion, but when you go on to do things outside of architecture school or your own projects, then you would see that all of that kind of training, all of that practice that you did at university is peanuts compared to what you want to do now. And it makes the whole process so much more enjoyable, and you're going to grow so much as a young designer. Opportunities will be coming your way. Keep pushing outside of your comfort zone. That cliche saying of, what was it, be comfortable, what was it, this is so bad now. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable, whatever it is. But it's so true, and I've found that at university is the best place to practice that. And even starting this YouTube channel, working on Mondays, teaching first year students, and some of them finding out about the YouTube channel, and I was like, I didn't really want to tell them, but when they found out, I was like, you know what, cool, they found out. And even my peers on my course and peers in my studios, seeing that I've got the channel and things, or like LinkedIn, the stuff that I've been doing on there, or Instagram, just use it, because at the same time, no one cares anyway. So why not go for it? And I think that's the thing that I've learned from 5th year and masters in general. Just why not go for it? And I want to leave you with that. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I don't know how long it's been. It's probably been a really long video, but I've really thoroughly enjoyed making it and making all the videos I have so far. It's going to be a busy 2 weeks for me now, working on the final elements of my project. But don't worry, as soon as I finish and submit in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to be making a whole video on everything on the final year project. So thank you so much.